I was born in a small rural town in Louisiana. Actually, I was born in New Orleans, but my parents lived in a small rural town. The reason I was born in New Orleans is Louisiana was segregated at the time, and the only hospital that would see African American women was the Charity Hospital in New Orleans. So my mother went into labor, and my father had to drive the 90 miles to get her to the hospital there to give birth. And that kind of defines where I came from, because I grew up in the segregated town. My father was uneducated, in fact illiterate, and my mother was undereducated. She was a cook. And most people who know me really well know that I cook really well. It's the only thing I'm not humble about. Even today, someone challenged me to a gumbo cook-off, and I said, bring it on. But I grew up in a large family. I was the oldest of 8. My mother took in everyone, and our family gathered around meals. And we still do that to this day. But the one thing that she taught me that I bring with me every single day in my job is kindness. Be kind. Just be nice, be compassionate, be decent to people, even if they're not decent to you, because I saw many times when people were not decent to my mother, and she still was always decent. And it stuck with all 8 of her kids. We're all like this. And so that has really, it's defined how I approach foreign policy, how I engage with my colleagues at the UN, friends and foe. I always approach them with kindness. I will add that when I was in 8th grade, Peace Corps came to my community. There was a small Baptist college that had closed down. And in the 1960s, Peace Corps brought Peace Corps volunteers there to train, and they were getting ready to go to Africa, and they invited some of the young kids in the community to learn the languages with them. So they were going to Somalia and to Swaziland. So I got to take Siswati as a language when I was in 8th grade. I don't speak a word of it now, but it did influence me. It introduced me to a world that was really far outside of the community that I was in. So I would eventually end up going to graduate school, and here I am.
That's great. That's a great question. I can't resist a follow-up, though, because you talk about kindness, but I would imagine in your job you must confront unkindness, if not cruelty. And how do you process that as being a representative of the United States and in a world in which we're living through some almost unimaginable cruelties?
The best weapon that we can have as a diplomat is kindness. And so even when you are dealing with your foes and you're giving them the riot act, a smile goes a long way in getting the message across and getting understanding. I'll share very briefly one story from my life. I was in Rwanda during the genocide. I was in a situation, it's a much longer story, with a young man with a gun at my head. And I just kind of smiled at him and said, "My name is Linda." And I wanted him to know, I thought, if he's going to kill me, at least he needs to know the name of the person he killed, and I got his name. So, and then suddenly the gun was down and we were having a conversation. And I thought, was that what saved my life? I don't know if that's what saved my life, but I decided it did. And it was, again, attacking an attacker with a smile.